The Notaries Unsealed podcast is brought to you by the Notary Success System and Captivated Notary Marketing Solutions. Coming up on this episode.
Yeah, it's always like that with the hospitals, it's because you're not a healthcare professional that you're not able to take care of your family members.
You in an unfortunate situation, a very fortunate situation in that you were able to have time.
But my hard work and the tenacity for working, I get that from my dad.
Real smooth this time. We know the reads Unsealed. This my everyday life. Yeah. We know the reads Unsealed. Every day I hustle out here living it right. Let's go. We know the reads Unsealed. Put the stamp down and stop in front of the mic. Here we go. Took the game over. We home now. We soldiers. Griff, Mathurin Q, the podcast. You can't hold us. Y'all heard the word. Y'all heard the word. Griff, Mathurin Q. Yeah, we on the verse.
Welcome back to another episode of Notaries Unsealed. I'm your host, Quentin Smith, and I got my guys with me, the fellas, Mathurin, Griff. Say what's going on to the people, fellas.
What's going on, party people? Your man Griff here as always. Just chilling, enjoying life.
Oh, yeah. What's going on, folks? It's right here, your 5-star general notary here in Massachusetts. Hope you guys are doing well.
Yeah, guys. So on this episode, usually we will start talking about some things in the notary world, and I'll ask the guys how their week is going. But right now, I think all of our weeks have kind of come to a closing on the sentiment from some news that we got from Griff this weekend. So, Griff, if I'm very thankful for you being here today. Why don't you share with us a little bit about what's going on?
All right, well, party people, on November the 5th at 12:15, my dad passed away. He had been living with us for 2 years and 31 days and came to live with us on October the 4th, 2020, and he passed November the 5th of this year, 2022, and his health was declining a little bit here and there, and took him to the hospital back in the last week of October. Yeah. And then found out he had to go into hospice, so we brought him home on the 29th of October. And just so y'all can give a time frame, that week that I did those 6 signings in one day, that was the day after I had to take him to the hospital, and I was already laced with all that work. So
still grinding.
Yeah, I still had to go out there and do it. Now I did cancel some orders because I needed to be home, and I even tried to cancel one, and the signing company, and this is where the hard times with the signing, nobody would answer the phone, nobody would answer my emails, and nobody would answer any of the messages I sent through SnapDocs.
That's frustrating.
So yeah. And I went ahead on and did the signing and everything, but I was really like, dude, I'm like, come on, y'all pick the phone up. I'm calling them 2 hours before because we found out at the last second that they was going to try to bring him home. And I was like, okay, let me just cancel this signing for myself. And I even had notaries lined up that I was going to try to pass it off to, but I couldn't get any response from them, so I went ahead on and did it myself. And then ironically, I had to do that signing at a hospital.
Wow.
So I'm trying to get my dad from a hospital, and then I'm running over across town to another hospital. But I have to give some big shout outs to my wife and my sons. They did a tremendous job the whole time I popped in here with, taking care of him and everything. And then my wife, she adjusted her schedule, and basically she didn't do anything with her salon that last week from the time Pop came until he passed, so that way I could go out and still do the signings that I needed to do. So
that's love right there, man.
Yeah. I mean, I would have had a hard time because when he went in the hospice, man, we had to go into 24-hour care with him.
Right.
And
that's tough.
Yeah. And it cost $8,000 to put him in a nursing home, and we didn't have it. We didn't have it, and that was one of the reasons why we had to go get him, because we found out that he wasn't really taking care of himself. After my mom passed, he let a lot of his, medical stuff lapse. So we had to, sort of flip the bill for a lot of that stuff and bring him up here and take care of him. And he had some dementia, so he wasn't really clear on a lot of stuff. He was thinking like, no, I got this, I got that, and then I'm calling, checking, and then because of his age, they was like, nah, you can't get any coverage. So we was like, okay.
Let me ask you something. Prior to him moving up here or up to Virginia in 2020, how often did you get a chance to see him?
And see, that's when I was working at W-2, and that W-2 interfered with a lot. Okay. So what was going on, I was calling him on a regular basis, but then all of a sudden he wasn't picking up as much. Right. So I had to actually call friends down there and old classmates to go check on him. And they were the ones that told me, they said, yeah, man, okay, you need to come on down here. Because it was like everything was going good. Then all of a sudden, boom, a change. He just stopped answering the phone, wouldn't come to the door. And I sent some trusted friends over there, and they checked on him. And I said, okay. And I just told the job, I was like, look, I'm out. I got to go. And ironically, a month after I got him up here, that's when I quit and went full time in the business. Yeah. And that wasn't even planned.
Yeah. Just happened that way.
It just happened that way, but it enabled me to really take care of him and to be there for him. And I will tell you this, and me and my wife both know that he would not have lived for these last 2 years and 31 days had I not gotten him, because the conditions and him being by himself, and that was right in the beginning of COVID. Right. And he easily could have, passed away down there, or been forced to, take the medicine stuff, against his will. And he's not a medicine guy, right. And everything. So the wife and kids did a great job. We did the 24-hour care. So, that week from the 29th of October through the 5th of November, we was 24 hours a day watching over him. I mean, and Matthew's gonna trip with it. I went full 007 Inspector Gadget grill. I had security cameras in there. I had 2 security cameras on 24-hour feed with my app, so I could keep track of him when I wasn't home. And then I had 3 Ring cameras that we could, we was all connected to. And I just happened to have some security cameras that I hadn't installed in my wife's salon. And I used 2 of them in everything. And then when you came upstairs, we had the big 30-inch TV sitting at the top of the stairs on a table, so you could look in there and see him all the time. And I have to, sense. So that way we could, have monitoring on him. And I'm gonna tell you, hospice, the hospital stuff, the hospital folk was a little janky, okay? But the hospice people, they did a great job in providing us the necessary support. I mean, they literally came in. They was like, he was imminent, to pass. So they came every day. Right. They had people come 3 days, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to bathe him. They taught us how to take care of him and everything. And technically, we didn't have to use hospice. But the problem is, they would have just given him, like, okay, take him home. And he just would have been there and like, okay, what do we do?
Shout out to the home healthcare workers out there. You guys are unsung heroes to a lot of families. Mm-hmm. Shout out to you guys. I know there's a lot of notaries that cross over and do that type of work as well. So shout out to you guys. And if you know somebody that does that work, show them some love. They do it. They do a lot of the dirty work that families don't want to do or can't do. So give them some love, man.
Yeah, and that takes a lot. That takes a lot from those workers, because, from my past work that I've done and what I'm currently doing with the investigations and whatnot, I get to see, firsthand, like what those home health aid workers are doing on a day-to-day basis, and it does take a lot. It takes a lot. It takes a lot of them. It takes a lot. It takes them away from their family, but at the same time, they are there to provide that support that the immediate family members cannot provide. So they are definitely one of the key staff. That's what I like to have within an agency.
Yeah. And and the main reason why we also did the home health care was also, they was like, well, if you don't put them in a nursing home, you can, hire your own private nurse.
Yeah.
At between $30 and $50 an hour. And we was like, okay, now we can't flip that either.
Right.
And so I was like, we'll do it. Me and the wife talked. I mean, it was a no-brainer. We was like, we'll do it. And so during the day, she really took care of him. I went out, did my signings. I came back in the afternoon, and then if she, to give her a break, and then on Thursday and Friday of that week, she had to go in and do her clients. So I was there with him, and every night I slept in a room with him. He had a recliner there, and I just sat. I mean, it wasn't that comfortable. I didn't care.
Doesn't matter, man.
And I slept in that recliner every single night because I didn't want him to pass in that room without somebody being there.
Yeah.
And everything.
You in an unfortunate situation, you had a very fortunate situation in that you were able to have time. Which is something that, a lot of us, we don't get to have with our loved ones before they pass, especially our parents. Either we're in different states or, circumstances don't allow us to be there. You actually had time. You had days to sit there with them. You had days to speak with him. Even if he wasn't responsive, he could still hear you, and you had time to talk and to maybe mend some things or talk about things from when you were a child, and say, I ain't never tell you about this, but, seeing where we are, I might as well tell you who lost that shoe of yours.
Yeah. So, I mean, my pop, he was my buddy, and he always called me his buddy. I'm his only child. He had his only grandsons. So, I just... put everything in. And I know a lot of people, I had already told, Q and Mathurin what was going on. And, they was checking on me and making sure I was taking care of myself. And I was, and even on the day he passed Saturday, there was 2 signings I went and had to take, took care of them. And, and I know some people like, no, I said, I needed to do that for that moment.
Yeah.
I needed to do it. And then when I got back home, that's when he passed, So we was all there. The family was there. And the funeral home came and they took him out. And because he's a vet, they put, they draped the flag over his body. Yeah. And, they was like, hey, during this time, most people don't want to see their loved one taken out. Y'all might want to just... go in the room and let us do our thing. I was like, nah. I went out there and stood outside while they took him out and everything. And we all was out there together. So, that's the way we wanted to see him, last. And my main thing was I was dogmatic about him being home. If he's going to pass, he got to be home because my mom passed in the hospital and I wasn't able to get down there. Because of that, my W-2,
right?
I think it was like back in 2012 when she passed, and I'm sorry, I'm never really good with dates, but and I missed it. A matter of fact, when I had got up at 3 a.m, I was getting ready to get on the plane. I had the cab came and got me at 4:00, and like at 4:05, they was calling me saying she had expired.
Yeah, it's a tough. That's tough.
Yeah.
When my mom passed, she was at a hospital that was probably a good 45 minutes to an hour away. That's if I was going, 5 to 10 miles over the speed limit, and I had to grab my brother, and I had gave him a warning, the evening before that Mom wasn't doing too well, and so. We sped down there, and I was probably about 5 minutes away, and they were like, Mr. Smith, how close are you? We can try to keep a pulse on her until you get here. And we'll do our best to do that. But you know, you gotta get here. So I'm like freaking out. I'm at this hospital that I didn't really know, trying to find, you know, parking. I found parking, just threw the car somewhere and ran in. And, you know, this was in 2021. So June 5th, 2021. So we're still coming out of COVID. Yeah. And the security guard was like trying to stop me and all this other stuff. And I'm there with my brother and I'm like, dude, my mom's about to pass. Like, I got to go. And they were able to keep a pulse on her. I mean, she was gone. Like they told me when I was like, she was already gone. They were just keeping a pulse on her so that way, yeah, you know, we could be there, and not really being able to be there for her. You know, that's something that, I mean, I got to live with today, which is it's a very hard thing to do. But you know, I wish that I could have had her here. You know, same thing with my grandmother when she passed. You know, you'll hold on to that for the rest of your life, and I'm sure your kids will as well. That you were able to have that, you know.
Yeah, and you know that flight down to Jacksonville, Florida, from here, from Virginia, man, that was a hard one for me.
I bet.
You know,
I bet,
because I was thinking because I did get to go down there the week before the weekend. You know, I flew down there like on a Friday, and came back on a Sunday. I saw her. She was on a ventilator, and I was like, okay. Flew back up, go to work, which I was ticked that they wouldn't let me just stay down there or give me some remote work to do.
Right.
And then, like I said, that Friday morning, I was on my way to get on the plane, and they said she was gone. So for my dad, I was determined not to let that happen.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not. So the hospital was ticked at me. I was not. They weren't pleased with me at all because I was just very dogmatic, and I was like, no, since y'all feel that y'all can't do anything for him, all right, fine, we'll take him home and we'll just pray and we'll do it the best we can. Yep. And they was trying, in a way, they was trying not to tell me not to use hospice. They were like, well, you can go on. I was like, no, I'm using hospice because I didn't want anybody to come back and say we did something incorrect.
Right.
And that's another reason why I had those cameras too.
Yeah.
So that if somebody, the hospital was like, oh, well, if you would have did, we had the cameras.
Yeah, it's always like that with the hospitals. You know,
right.
These hospitals be thinking that because
I mean, it's competition.
You're not, because you're not a healthcare professional, that you're not able to take care of your family members. I feel like, just seeing what you've been going through, all the necessary step was taken, and you guys, did a pretty great job. And also just the support of your family, that's very important. So the fact that your wife and the kids were there, that right there speaks volume of the type of man that you are, speaks volume of the type of son that you were to your father, because a lot of people don't have that. A lot of parents that are in that position, they don't have their kids that are willing to, bring them in, to take care of them and to their last dying days. But it just shows the type of man you are, Griff.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Your family support.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So, well, here's the thing. All of who I am comes from my mother and father. And when I say that, I mean, my mom was very no nonsense, short-tempered. And what was cute, I was born on May 7th. My mom was the 14th and my dad was the 29th. So we was all born in May. All born in May. But my hard work and the tenacity for us working, I get that from my dad because he sacrificed so much, for us. And I was the only child. And one of the sacrifices he made I never forgot was I wanted a bicycle. And he was trying to buy him a car. And a lot of times he'll get him a used car. And he was willing to walk to wherever he had to walk to go and save up the money to buy me a $300 bicycle.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I never forgot that. So the sacrifices that I make for my family comes from seeing him sacrifice for us. my, the care and concern for other people comes from both of them to see other people do better and to be better. So that's why I do what I do for the notaries. And I'll be honest, I was thinking about, like, you know what? I'm going to shut this YouTube down because...
Don't do that.
These notaries are really being hard-headed. And notaries out there, I'm not trying... Don't take offense to this.
I'm offended.
But there are a lot of notaries, it's as much videos that I put out there, and to have notaries call and tell me about how scared they are to do the slightest little thing of just accepting an order. And they're saying they need help and they get the help, and then they still won't do it. They won't do the profile. They won't. I mean, it's like, and after a while, I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe I need to just shut everything down. Yeah. And then you'll see that, what you have left is these charlatans out here who are just sucking money from you and giving you nothing in return. But when I reflect back on the kind of person that my parents were, I was like, nah, I'm gonna stick it out, and I'm gonna stay out here, and I'm gonna keep doing what I do. I'll adjust the way I do some things, but there are people out here who are sincere and who really need help, and I'm gonna keep helping them. I'm gonna keep being there for them and everything, and that's what I realized I wanted to do. So, if anybody don't like who I am and how I am, you don't have to just blame my parents, because that's where I get it from, so that's why I can do 6 signings in a day. That's why I can stay up half the night.
Yeah. I think we all owe your parents a grateful thank you for the work that they did with you, because you have given us the best gift that they probably could have given all of us. So thank you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And for that pettiness and snarkiness I have, I ain't gonna lie, that came from both of them. Because them two, my wife would tell you, them two would joke the heck out of you. I mean, they would crack jokes like a comedian on you. I'd be sitting there and they would just crack jokes on me all the daggone time. And my wife was like, that's who you get it from, because I'll be cracking jokes on her and the boys. And she's like, so you got that from them? I was like, yeah. She was like, they the ones who got you. She's like, no wonder you so daggone snarky. I'm like, yeah.
So let me ask you.
That's where you got it
Let
from.
me ask you, Griff. Now, a part of your line has transcended. You are it. You has that hit you yet? Like,
well, my oldest, he's the fourth, so
right.
But
you are the shepherd of shepherds. You are the elder. You are the wisest of the family at this moment now. It's no longer your father.
Right. I know. Yep. It falls on me and everything. And I was like, oh man. I said, okay, I got a big task at hand.
You are now Yoda. Yoda Griff.
Yeah. But I mean, this also causes me to, with him passing, he's greatly missed. Yep. And I've actually, for the last 2 years, crafted my whole notary business around taking care of him.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. I need for y'all to understand what this man just said. Okay. He crafted a business around taking care of somebody. So all of these videos, everything that you've seen Griff do, all the interactions that you've had with Griff on Clubhouse, Griff on YouTube, Griff on Instagram, Griff doing 6 signings in a day, Griff holding trainings. He did all of this around somebody that's sick. There is no excuse for not one of you out there to be out there on your grind and work in this business. I don't want to hear about a W-2. I don't want to hear about your kids. I'm a single dad. So what? I got 3 kids. What?
Mm-hmm.
You hear what he just said?
You're right. It's definitely possible.
There's nothing that is stopping you. You're stopping yourself.
That is correct. And that's what I had to, I had to make up my mind. I said, I got to do this. And even more so, like if y'all go back and look at this last Fritter Friday, the Fritter Friday on the 4th of November. And when I was doing, I was looking down to my right at I was looking down at the security cameras, keeping an eye on him, watching his breathing. While I was doing Fritter Friday, I was like, okay. And I was checking. I was like, because late Thursday, early Friday, he started declining even more. Yeah. And we noticed his breathing had changed like they told us it was. Mm-hmm. So I was checking it out then. But for the whole 2 years that I've been, and basically the 13th of this month or 11th or something like that, that's when I'll be 2 years in the business. I actually just made sure that my whole flow was around making sure he was taken care of. I would come home, I would have 3 or 4 signings, but I would leave documents here just so I can make sure I come back home, check on him, see how he's doing, touch bases with him in between signings and stuff, scan backs, all of that. So now I could actually print all my documents, take them with me, take my scanner with me, and don't have to come back home.
Hey, I'm putting Virginia Beach on notice right now. Y'all was only getting Griff at 60%. Griff is about to ramp up to 100%. Y'all better take the orders that you can, because this
100% for the last 2 years.
Yeah, this man he's about to be a man on fire. Okay, y'all better be quick on the draw. Quick on the draw, because Griff coming. And he about to.
There was times I wasn't doing signings just so I could be back home for him and just to sit there and chill with him. And I was still popping 60 some signings, and I'm still popping like 50 now. So
Griff, we bringing them over
now. I have no reason, no excuse not to take orders. I don't care whether it's a $30 order, $80 order, $150, whatever.
Yep, you're gonna get that.
Yeah, it's on and popping. So, the scanner's gonna be rolling with me, the computer, everything. So I'm gonna be, so I'm probably be back in my full mobile office mode.
Notaries on alert. Y'all are on alert. Yep. Griff is coming.
Yeah, I've been warned.
So so those notaries that's over there in the week, because see, there were some areas I wouldn't even go to because I knew the traffic was going to hold me up. But now I don't have a problem going over there to Hampton, Newport News. I go to Williamsburg, all of that kind of stuff, which was an hour and a half away. I wouldn't do those, because I didn't want to be that far away from him in case something happened. Mm-hmm. So now it's all wide open now. So so now it's time for me to go ahead on and really ramp it up.
I feel bad for y'all.
I mean, even more so.
I feel bad for the notaries in the area. I'm just saying.
Because they just don't know what's coming.
They don't know what's coming. Man on a mission now. Now you can put 100% of mine to business. Hey.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Hey now.
If you've been hesitating to click those notifications,
don't hesitate.
I know.
They won't be there. They won't be there anymore. Griff's coming. It's like that DMA X gonna give it to you. Griff is coming.
Griff gonna give it to you.
So I appreciate it. Right now we're just working on whether we're going to have him lay the rest up here or down in Florida more. Right now, based on the cost, it looks like the cost is about the same. So we'll probably go ahead on and do it down there in Florida. And what we're going to probably end up doing is what they call a direct burial, where the body gets transferred to the funeral home in Florida, and then they just go ahead on and directly lay them to rest. No ceremony, anything like that. We'll be able to go down there to the grave site anytime we want, and we can do our own private ceremony then and everything. So that was it, so
let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Now that we were talking a little bit before when we started recording, but I think it's a good thought process for people to kind of understand. what's next? You know, we talked about it just now a little bit. You know, now you can take more orders, but you know, now you have an opportunity to do more or do less. You know, we know that you are pretty much on the road to being the king of loan signing, right? Uncle King Griff, King Uncle Griff. How have your horizons expanded? Have you had a moment to sit and think, well, now I can do this. Now I want to do this. You know, we've talked in previous episodes about, you know, the previous episode about side hustles. You know, is drone something that you're looking to get into now? Now things open up, and that's a lot of. So when you lose, when you lose that energy that, you know, you were dedicating so much of yourself to, time opens up, and so now you have an opportunity to do something else.
Right, you got to put it somewhere else, or you just sit around not really being productive.
Right.
Doing my drone, getting my drone education. Another thing is getting more rest. Now, I was already, before my pop got here, not sort of sleeping, and then when he got here, that made it worse.
Right.
Because a lot of times he wouldn't get up till like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And that's when he wanted something to eat. So I couldn't, within good conscience, just go to sleep without making sure he was straight. So he would be asleep all day. And so even though he was asleep most of the day, and I had the camera in there watching him, and I would check it, but I would still come home. But then after I get home, he would get up for a little bit, then go back to sleep. And then about 1 o'clock in the morning,
that's when he's up again.
Yeah. So, and I really, you know, so I figured that out early on. So I would be coming up the stairs, and that was when I had all my equipment downstairs recording, because he took over my man's room and my 4K TV, and I tried to get the 4K TV out, and he was like, "Nah, that TV staying. I like that TV."
Yeah.
And let me, and a side note,
pops about that one, man.
Nah, I'm gonna tell you, I had bought a LG TV in 29. Well, I didn't buy it. I got it because I got a second line. That's how I got my second phone. And Sprint gave me a free TV per se. Well, to understand, for 2 years, that TV stayed on. It never turned off. He didn't want it to be off. So he kept it on his news channels. And even when he was asleep, day, night, whenever, the only time that TV went off was if the power went out in the house for a second or whatever. That was it. So that TV stayed on for 24 hours a day for the last 2 years, and it is still running fine. So I got to give LG props. They made a great TV. 43-inch 4K TV. It is fabulous. And I mean, the TV never overheated or anything. But now that I have more time, I got to get back to getting some sleep, exercising, because I'll be too tired to exercise. And I even I even actually bought an elliptical a couple of months ago, and I got all the equipment and stuff, but I was just so tired because, you know, I go to bed at 1, sometimes 2 in the morning. Some days I go in there, talk to him till 3 in the morning, go to sleep, get up, do signings, come back.
So what you're saying is I can't text you at 12:30 and be like, "Yo, Griff, you got something?"
Nah.
Yeah, I'll probably be asleep now.
At least for the next few months, Griff needs to recharge.
I gotta find a new midnight buddy now. Sheesh.
Yeah,
it's not
so
me.
I know it's not you. It's already past your bedtime now.
But yeah, I'm gonna focus back on doing the Notary Tech Talk.
Yes, finally. I love Notary Tech Talk.
Yeah,
I might be
get back onto that.
Is that a little too excited?
There's some stuff that I want to do with Ron. I want to do some training videos on .verify.
Ooh. Because
a lot of people been having some issues with that. So I got the idea of how I want to do it, but it was just, it was those, how it is. Even if like in the W-2, you don't work the W-2 and you hear it is Friday and you're like, okay, I'm gonna go out to dinner and treat myself, and then you sit down and your body say you ain't getting up.
Yep.
And or your mind is just so tired that you really can't focus on doing something. And that's what was going on with me. So over the next week or so, it's going to be really just getting some rest, sleeping, and getting on a better schedule.
Yep. Setting a new normal. That's really what it is setting a whole new normal for yourself, which is exciting.
Right. Just setting a whole new normal. And,
it's unfortunate, but it's also exciting. Life is changing. It's always fun when life changes. Mm-hmm. Well, some people don't like it, but
I know Griff not. I know Griff's not gonna say that. Don't be the next couple of weeks. Don't be texting and calling Griff over nonsense. Go ahead.
I still talk to people. I mean, through this whole time, man, there was people who called me, needed me for stuff, and I mean, I'm gonna still be there for people. I'll still be there, answer the phone calls and this, that, and the other, and everything.
Why did I just hear a young Michael Jackson? Just look over your shoulder, honey.
That's right. I'll be there.
So Griff, do you have any plans as far as maybe you and the family maybe going away for a weekend? After all of this, just to kind of like regroup and do something together.
That's a good question. Honestly, we hadn't even thought about it. Mm-hmm. We hadn't even thought about it. We have just been like, just taking it in, and to be honest, my youngest son, it hit him the hardest because he was the one who really was helping Pop out, because during the day when everybody else is going to work, he was here and he was watching out for him the most. So it really hit him the hardest. So we're going to do something and try to figure out something, especially, I'll probably just get with him personally and be like, hey, let's go do something, son. Find something to do, me and him, just go hang out or whatever and all of that. And he actually told me, he said, Dad, you should take some time off and everything. So, matter of fact, he's going to take a few days off from work, but
that's good.
I'm going to get with him and all of that. But, again, shout out to my wife. She stepped up.
Shout out to Mrs. Griff, man.
I'm going to tell y'all, she really got in there and helped Pop out. I mean, she really took care of my dad while I was gone. And if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have been able to do it. And, and just being real, and I know we're getting ready to go to break, but look, let's just be real with this. There are some men who are married to women who will not step in there to help take care of their parents. And that is just the truth of the matter. And I am so grateful that she did it without, it wasn't like a thing of, let me ask. It was, as soon as she found, I told her what was going on with hospice, she was like, no problem. She like, bring him here. We'll do it ourselves. And matter of fact, I was on the phone with hospice and I had to go into a signing. And she said, don't worry, Griff, you go do your signing. We was on 3-way. And she said, you do your signing. I'll take care of the hospice stuff. And she went and got all the information, took care of all the hospice stuff, all of that. And I was like, cool. So,
I'm telling you, man,
you got to be there for each other.
It's women like Mrs. Griff that's keeping me single, because I know that there's great women out there, and unfortunately, I'm telling you, I have the opportunity to have great family that have great long-lasting relationships. Married 30, 40 plus years. So I have great examples to look at, and I hear stories about Mrs. Griff and everything that you got going on. It makes it really hard for me to try to connect with somebody when I'm not seeing that type of quality or ability to love and open themselves up like that. So that's
very important.
That's a beautiful thing, man. Shout out to Mrs. Griff, keeping it real. Yeah. Teach these young girls how to love us hard-headed men. All right, guys, we're gonna take a quick break and we'll be right back.
The Notary Success System is the notary industry leading face-to-face loan closing training on the market. You are actually conducting a mock loan closing with a full set of loan closing documents. At the end of the training, you will have the confidence to conduct any loan closing you are assigned. Go to notarysuccesssystem.com and choose your date and time. Peace.
www.captivatednotarystore.com.
It's Captivated, baby.
Yup, that's the name that we go by when we let the post fly.
It's Captivated, baby.
We got hoodies and tees for all your notary needs. Know what I'm talking about?
It's Captivated, baby.
Nobody does it like me, so it's best to believe when you see it.
It's Captivated, baby.
Yeah, we do this. We got the newness. Just don't forget.
It's Captivated, baby.
Q, the Notary Supremo. T-shirt ads sounding just like a demo. Podcast song blast, shout out to our demo. Graph how I laugh with my foot on this pedal. Somehow I lost my mind. Have you seen all these designs? And I sell them things cheap, $24.99. What's your name? What's your size? Forget it, never mind. The Captivated store, or to pay another time. A notary that rhymes, yes, that's him, lady. Commission with these writtens, I've been spitting crazy. Witness all the ways we give it, all we say that we do. It's true.
It's
Guess
Captivated, baby.
www.captivatednotarystore.com.
It's Captivated, baby.
Witness all the ways we give it, all we say that we do. It's true.
It's Captivated, baby.
Welcome back, folks. Hopefully we weren't gone too long. Man, this was that first part of this episode is going to be kind of tough to come up with something else for this. There is no topic that I have told these guys before. I'm going to kind of throw something out there, something I was thinking about during the break. We actually only took like a 10-minute break this time. Yeah. Usually we be going for like an hour.
Yeah.
We only went for 10 minutes, so I didn't really have anything to put too much thought into. But in light of, Griff's father transcending on to his next destination, I'm going to pose a question to you guys, and it's going to be a hard one for me to answer, but I will answer it. What are some of your favorite memories from your dad?
Oh man. One of my most favorite memories, and like I said, my dad, he fought for me since I was the only child. There was this kid next door that was messing with me, and I don't know how my pop knew. Out of nowhere, he came busting out the house and landed a nice big foot right up that boy's butt. I'm not just talking about like just kicked. I mean, he kicked him dead square in the butt, and he was like, "Don't you ever mess with my son." And
that's hilarious.
And and I was like, okay. I was like, Pop got some skill and everything. And then one time, well, I used to get in trouble a lot.
No, I can't see that.
And
was it because of your mouth? No, never mind.
Look, you called I did not want my mom to know that I was in trouble, and Pop covered for me. I mean, that's stuff she didn't know that I got in trouble for. I mean, we was horsing around the football when I was playing football, and we broke a sink in the boys' bathroom. We broke the sink.
Jeez.
I know how you break a sink. Never mind. Go ahead.
We broke the sink. Water skeeting everywhere, man. And he came up there. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I got into a lot of trouble. Stole candy one time. You know how you had those things? I was in the bank, supposed to sell the candy and Well, one of the kids, he was like, "Yo, man, I'ma steal this candy." He stole the candy. The candy was $60 worth of candy he stole.
Oh.
Bought a BB gun.
No.
And now we in a private school. Then he comes to the school with the BB gun.
Oh.
Yeah.
And there was this girl that he
3
liked,
for 3.
and the girl didn't reciprocate it back, so he shoots her in the butt with the BB gun.
Jeez.
No.
And of course, and man, I mean,
what?
My pop was so upset with me. Yeah, he open hand slapped me across the face.
Wait, hold on a second. So you helped him steal the candy? $60 off you.
I was just there. I didn't help him. He stole it on his own, but I was in the mix.
He was guilty by
was you to look out?
I was just guilty by association. And they was trying to figure out who did it.
He still ain't admitting to it.
I ain't still
Griff, was you to look out?
I saw him steal it.
All right.
I didn't see him steal it.
You didn't steal it yourself. You didn't steal it. Were you the lookout, though? Were you an accomplice?
That's the thing. He did it on his own. Dude was slick.
Right, he did it for his own, but were you an accomplice? I still ain't testifying to that.
Nobody was snitching. Look, the dude, the principal knew somebody did it, and nobody was snitching. And my pop was asking me, I wasn't saying nothing. The next thing I know, I feel nothing but 5 fingers coming across my face. See, that was back in the day when you could get knocked out by your parent.
Smack.
My pop hit me so hard that the boy started crying. The boy who stole the candy started crying and confessed to everything.
Yeah, because he know he could have been next.
Yeah,
right.
So my pop, he, and when my mom did find out that I did something wrong, he was the one that saved me from getting put in the ground, because my mom was she was good at giving spankings.
Yeah.
Yo, pops are good for things like that. I wouldn't know because I didn't have my dad, but when it comes to my own kids, we're good for stuff like that. Like, we'll cover for you. It's gonna cost you.
I know.
It's gonna cost you.
So, my main thing was my memories of him was really watching out for me. Making sure, because I was the only child, so. Kids like to mess with the only child kids, and he made sure that I had everything I needed. I never went without, man. If I wanted to go to the get some French fries, he's like, "Yeah, Loki, let's go. Take me to McDonald's, get some French fries." That's why I was a little chubby back then, wearing the 32 husky pants and everything.
That's funny.
But he made sure I had everything, man. So my memories of Pop was, I had everything, and he taught me a lot. He taught me about working on cars and things of that nature. So yeah, I had some good memories of him.
What about you, Mathurin?
Oh man, I think one of the memories that I have, as far as back when I was maybe 6th grade and whatnot, I had to go through some surgeries. I ended up having 4 knee surgeries. And then I remember that my dad, on Thursdays and whatnot, when it's time for me to go to the doctor, because I had to, have a weekly follow-up. And, he always, take the time out from work. And there was this one week where I'm not sure what was going on with his supervisor at that time. So his supervisor started tripping the fact that, he had to leave. And he kind of reminded him, okay, I have a kid. He just had surgery, and I said that from the get-go that he have weekly appointments. So I guess the supervisor got pissed off and whatnot, and because of that, they fired my dad because he had an arrangement with them to leave every Thursday to bring me to the doctor's appointment. So he got fired because of that. And, it just kind of showed me as far as, the type of man that he was, even though we going through this difficulty with me having surgeries, and he still wanted to be there. So, just showing that, how dedicated that he was to making sure that, that I was okay, making sure I was getting the right treatment. So that's one thing that I can say that, that I admire. So I try to be like that for my kid, trying to set that type of example, no matter what, whatever it is that you have to sacrifice, if your family comes first,
Absolutely.
So that right there stood out. That's it's crazy. These W-2s don't give a damn about you. They don't care about your family.
You know what? They really don't. And you know, it's not surprising. And this isn't about my father, but about my mom. You know, I have a similar story. You know, I've shared on here before that I had a lung disease and I was in the hospital for, you know, a year and a half, flatlined 3 times. And that during that same time, my mom went through a similar situation because I was in and out the hospital. And from where we stayed in Alexandria, Virginia, I was actually at Children's Hospital in DC. So that was like an hour and 15-minute drive each way. And so, you know, I would go to school and be sent from school to, you know, in an ambulance to the hospital, and the hospital would transfer me over to DC. So my mom had to do a lot of running back and forth from work. And eventually they got to the point where it's like, all right, well, we need you here. Either you choose your child or pretty much your job. And my mom chose child, of course. And so they fired her. And, you know, like you were saying, you know, it sets an example for you to let you know that, one, you are special, you are worth the sacrifice. And it makes you appreciate the things that your parents do for you. And I know for me personally, it always gave me a sense of purpose, knowing that if somebody was willing to do that for me, then I need to be able to go out there and be everything that I'm supposed to be because they've sacrificed something for me.
Absolutely.
You know, this person loved me that much that, like, you know, it's not that you owe them, but in a way you do. Like you owe because they were able to do something for you and stand up for you in a time when nobody else could. That's what parents are for, you know. And I think that, you know, the more being in that opportunity or being in that situation is not something that I wish on anybody. But when those opportunities present themselves to you in your life, you know, it changes things. It gives you a different perspective. And I wish that more people, when those opportunities presented themselves, you know, that they choose to make the right decision, because it does change lives.
Yeah, it does. You know, like even till this day, you know, so I can think back on there, you know, just to see that, you know, the company that my father was with at that time, he had been there for quite some time, maybe, you know, 6-7 years, and then just, you know, one incident pretty much caused it. Which, you know, my dad didn't have, like, he wasn't as worried because he know that he was gonna be able to find something, but just that at that given moment he made a decision. He was like, no, my family's more important than this job, regardless. You know, if we need it, but we're gonna get by regardless.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's good
stuff.
stuff.
Well, you know, when I first got on YouTube, that was one of the things that I said, that video that I put out there, that you got to have your family on board. And there's too many people, especially men, I would say men, but probably women too, that they get into business or even just a W-2 and they spend more time focused on that, and they sort of forget about the family. And you got to balance that out. You got to balance time out with the family and show them that you can be there for them, which means when you have something tragic happen in your life, or whatever that may be considered tragic, they'll be there for you. Now, of course, there's some family members, you know, they so selfish, they ain't going to be there for you no matter what. But if your family is level-headed and right-hearted, when you need them, they'll be there. And that's what I saw with my family. And it was like, there was no question. It was like, this is what needs to get done. We're family. Let's go do it. And, you know, and that's why, you know, I sacrifice and I do all that I have to do for them to be an example. And you gotta be connected with your family and not be so caught up in the dream, in somebody else's dream for their business, that you haven't even really qualified whether or not that's the dream you should have for your business.
Right. Right. No, you're absolutely correct. And, you know, we usually don't talk business on this portion of the show, but I'm just going to make a quick comment based off of what you just said. I think that there's some notaries out there that should probably give this business a second thought and decide if this is really for them or not.
Oh, no, you're absolutely right.
I'm just going to.
Yeah.
We're not going down this yellow brick road.
I know,
right
I know, but no, I have to agree with you. And I've told notaries, and some of them have probably gotten mad at me, They called me with all of these excuses as to why they can't do this, and I said, "This ain't the business for you. Then
No,
you need to
not.
get out. You need to get
No, it's
out,
not.
especially the one. I know, especially the ones who want to sit here and say what they not going to do for us following the directions of the person that's paying them. You wouldn't do that in your W-2. I'm gonna leave it there.
No, you're absolutely right. We're not going any further down this road. This is not the portion of the show for this, guys. I know it's tough. We'll save it for another episode. That might be the next episode.
Nah, sure, that might.
I think we're gonna have to come back on that. I'm gonna write that down. So one of my as I just finished telling you guys, I didn't have my dad growing up. My dad and I, we didn't really start to have a relationship until I was 19 years old, and I moved down to Florida with him at the drop of a dime. It was literally an overnight situation. I called him probably at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I said, "Pop," I found out a way to get in touch with him. I'd called an aunt to get his number. Called him. I said, "Pop, I need to get out of here." And by 8 o'clock that evening, I had a flight for the next morning, leaving at 6 o'clock in the morning. And during that time, he and I had a lot of conversations. I got a lot of answers to the questions that I had, and which is really important for boys that are growing up without their dads. I know we got a large female listenership right now, and there's probably a good majority of you guys, unfortunately, that are single moms. It's really important for boys to have an opportunity to get the other half of their parents' side of the story. You may not want them to get it, but that child needs to hear what their father has to say, and they're going to come to an age where they go out and ask that. So I just hope that you guys foster that, because I had an opportunity to ask those questions. You may not like the father that much if you're in that situation. It doesn't matter. It's not about you. It's about the kid, right? So I had an opportunity to sit down and be with my dad, talk with my dad, get mad at my dad, argue with my dad, fight with my dad. And that's something that I'm always going to cherish, because had I not had that opportunity, then I'd probably still be walking around here a really pissed off grown child adult. Right, that having that opportunity to sit with my dad and actually, we came out of that with a friendship. I call him Pop. He knows he's missed out on dad status with me, but he's Pop. And what I hold on to with him, because he's still down there in Florida, is I learned that he and I have the same chill. And what I mean by that is, I found out that I was a lot like him by the way that I like to end my days, by the way that I sit back and reflect on my days. That was something that I started doing when I was in high school. Like I was always like this old spirited young man. And within the first couple of days of being down there, towards the end of the day, we both did the same thing. And so that was a time, where we would spark those conversations that would get heated or loving or just answers. But, sitting outside, smoking a cigar, thinking about life, thinking about our days, thinking about what's next. That's where I found that opportunity to find a common ground with my dad to say, okay, yeah, we're a lot alike. And I was able to forgive him for not being there. And a lot of people don't understand, forgiveness ain't about the other person, it's about you.
That is correct.
You're right about that, man. I think that's like one of the hardest thing to do at this, is to forgive, because we feel like once we were once somebody did us wrong or anything like that, is for us to actually go to the process of forgiving, it takes a lot. And that's something like most people try to avoid. I'm just talking from personal experience here.
Yeah.
It is a lot.
It is. It's a tough concept for some people to grasp, But I promise you, forgiveness is not about you forgiving the other person for their benefit. It's for your benefit to let go of those feelings. And so, that's been my best memory of my dad, is just having those times to sit down and reflect on life and just realizing that we show the same exact way. And it's little moments like that. I wish that I had stories. Like I got those stories with my mom and my grandmother and whatnot, but I don't have that with him. So what I do have to hang on with from him is those moments of just being able to sit and talk, chill with my cigar. At the time, I told y'all before, I don't drink alcohol, but I'm a dark liquor guy. Like drinking the cognac with my cigar and just chilling. Now it's coffee, right? Now it's coffee with the cigar. No more alcohol substitutes. But that's what I hold on to from my pop myself.
That's all right. Excellent.
Let me ask you something though, Griff. Hold on a second now. I'm even talking about Dez. Now, I know you're a man of many talents, a sort of, what do they call them? Savants? Is that the right word?
I guess you could say, yeah.
Savant, a Rain Man. Did your pop ever teach you how to handle meat? Let me rephrase that. How do you handle meat to cook? Like, did it ever teach you anything about the grill? Because I know me and you, like, I'm a grill guy, self-taught. I know you're a grill guy too. We've chopped it up. I know some of the lingo that you use. I'm like, all right, yeah, he knows a little something.
You know what? Not really.
Did he help you with that?
Not really.
No?
My mom did all the cooking. I mean, he cooked, and I just sort of learned by watching them. And I mean, once I hit 12 years old, and that was the thing back then, the goal was by the time you hit 12, you need to know how to cook for yourself. That was my era. Yeah. If you didn't know how to cook by the time you was 12, you might just be starving.
Bro, it was 9 o'clock in my house.
No. I'm talking about 12 years old.
Quick. No, I'm sorry. It was 9 years old
9
in my
years
house.
Old.
Yeah, I had to learn at 9 because my mom, she was working till 10:30 at night. So anytime that she cooked, I was sitting there like, how did she make this? Because I had to feed myself.
So he showed me the basics of the cooking, and then I just took it from there. But yeah, I don't remember too much barbecuing from him. I mean, he cooked okay, but he wasn't like the cook person and stuff. Mm-hmm. So that was more so my mom. She did all of the cooking. Now what my pop did cook that was good? Oxtail. Oh yeah? Man. That dude made a mean oxtail.
That was his jam.
Oh yeah.
He would put that in a pressure cooker. So, back then it was a pressure cooker. So you get the oxtail, the tomato soup, the mixed vegetables, the onions and taters, and put all that in the box. So anytime I came home when I was in the military, he cooked that for me. And just so y'all could understand my relationship with him, he was a chief warrant officer in the Coast Guard, did 26 years. And I found out that because he was a warrant officer, he could re-enlist me, even though he was retired. So to honor him, when I re-enlisted, I let him do the ceremony.
Wow, oh, that's awesome.
So he got to do the ceremony for me re-enlisting and everything. And so that's the relationship me and my pop had with his dad. I always look to do something, special for him or my mom. Like when I graduated from college, it took me 10 years to get my associates. My mom came up, she wanted to see me graduate. Now, I'm the type, I didn't really care for college, and I wasn't even going to march. I was just like, just hand me my diploma under the door and I'm good. But my wife and the dean and a lot of people said, look, you need to do this. Your mom is real big on education. So I did it just for her. And she was so happy. My pop, he didn't care. He had his degree. He was like, I don't care. But my mom needed to see. So I always did look to do stuff to make sure, to give them memories and stuff in their life and everything. Even though I didn't necessarily care for it, but I knew my dad really wanted to do that. So I surprised him with that. He even went out and bought a new uniform and everything.
Oh man,
That's awesome, man.
Yes.
that's good.
That is so awesome.
Yeah, so it was fun. It was fun. He did good. He did good. He enjoyed himself and all that. So yeah, but nah, he didn't teach me the cooking thing. I just sort of that just came natural to me once I understood how to deal with the heat on the stove. Everything else just fell in line. Then I took a home ec class primarily to be in there with the honeys. I'm gonna just be straight with you.
Hey, that's why I took it too.
You know, I know how to sew. I mean, I know how to work a sewing machine and all that. So I learned how to sew. I took typing, because that's where the girls
did
at.
that too. Yep,
That's true.
did that too.
Did
that too. I took a wood class in there too.
Yeah.
It wasn't all about the girls. I mean, I learned some other things too. But yeah,
yeah. So yeah. I once I learned how to cook, it was on from there. But yeah, he never really got into teaching me too much on cooking. Once he saw that I knew what I was doing, he was like, "All right, you figure it out from there." And the main thing he showed me how to do was cook a grilled cheese sandwich.
Yeah, you know what? My uncle, so I had an uncle that was like a father figure to me. He taught me how to make a good grilled cheese, and then I kind of perfected it. He also, what I really picked up from him, because he was in the military as well, was how to cook pancakes.
Really?
Like, yeah. Oh yeah. He showed me a couple tricks. Tricks on how to cook some pancakes, some mean pancakes too. So now I pass that on to my children. I'm not gonna put it out on No. We ain't putting that on the airwaves. That's we gonna keep that close to the chest.
Pancakes was my
Anybody
thing too.
that was in the military.
Yeah, my older son eats pancakes left and right. He loves them. Yeah.
It's crazy because I just started like my kids been asking more about that. So like weekly we've been going through different variation with fruits and stuff like that. It's crazy.
Okay, that's dope.
It's crazy how that pancake is. It's
that's
universal,
dope.
Huh?
Oh yeah, pancakes.
It definitely is. But when you learn from somebody that's cooked pancakes for military men in the barracks, they can show you a couple things.
Oh yeah,
that's crazy.
They show you a couple things. I think I got my love for cooking meat from my uncle because he was traveling a lot. When he came home, usually his steak was coming out. You know what I mean? And that would be the time where you can find a couple minutes to talk with him when he's out there cooking on the grill. So that's where I got my love for just being around the grill, because when he would come home and I had an opportunity to like just talk to him for a little bit, like that's where he would be at.
No, makes sense.
And and outside of the fact that I love the smell and I love the entire process, that's what really piqued my interest in it. And then when I saw that, the man got the biggest piece of meat, I was like, oh yeah, this is definitely for me. So if I'm gonna start cooking, I'm gonna get the biggest piece of meat. So if I'm at the biggest piece of meat, it gotta taste right. And that's how I really started to love being on my grill, and perfecting my craft there. If you ain't doing zone grilling when you on the grill, if you ain't zoning, you ain't doing it right. I'm just saying. There's a science there.
There's a science to it.
Learn it. Yes.
Yeah. See, that's why, Matthew, you have to hit the road, man. You can't get in a plane, man, and just stop on down here to in Virginia, man, and I'll grill up something for you.
Learn how to barbecue.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Like when I was growing up, it was mainly, my mom that was doing all the cooking, and my aunts, when I was in Haiti. I know my brother, he learned how to cook at a very young age. This fool was making a full entree by the time he was 9 years old. Like he was just, that was his passion as far as cooking. Till today, he still does that. At a younger age, I was not interested in that. Just to be honest with you, it's like, they'll be cooking, they be in the kitchen. I'm like, nah, call me afterwards. I don't got time for that. But as I get older,
stay out the kitchen, boy.
As I get older, I start to see the importance of it as far as, at least learn how to do the basics. So as I get older, I started learning and stuff like that. But my dad will cook. But again, like I said, it's usually my mom that comes up with all the different dishes and stuff like that. But man, as far as grilling, I I, I want to say that I'm a fan of grilling, because but I don't go all in. And like some folks down there, especially in Florida, man, like some folks there, like the way they grill, it's like it's like they put
It's an
everything.
event, bro.
Yeah,
it's an event.
It's crazy.
Right.
It's crazy. But now it's like when I go to a friend of my house up here, every time he's having like a party, as soon as I go there, he was like, "Yo, get on the grill." I don't know. Look, like I'll do it if I have to do it, but I feel like maybe I don't know, maybe later on as I get older, I'll probably really get into it like that. 'Cause even my wife be like, "Look, you look like you like grilling." I'm like, "Yeah, I'll do it every now and then, but I need to have a nice grill where I can just be in the backyard just doing the most for absolutely no reason."
Nah, I hear you. Like it's definitely a labor of love. Like I love when I'm grilling that I know that I'm about to feed my family. The main portion of the meal. That's how I look at it. I enjoy it. I appreciate the process. I love the science of it. But I'll tell you what, I can't. I mean, I'm not saying that I can't, but when it comes to sides, nah, forget about the sides, man. Like I could make some sides, but I'm all about the meat, bro.
No, so
I'm really not.
Now
I can make sides. I just don't like I don't want to be bothered with that. I'd rather put all my efforts into making this miraculous meat that just goes as soon as it's done. You know what I mean? Like the heavens start singing and there's birds chirping. And it's just like the meat is done. You know, and it's like, yes, Dad, the meat is done. The meat is done. What did you guys make for sides? Nothing. Oh, well.
Oh, man.
Go open that can of green beans and put it on the stove for 15 minutes. Throw some bacon bits in it and some onions and call it a day.
Even then, I would take that and I like to smoke. So I'm smoking my stuff. So I would put that in the on the grill and let it smoke. And have some smoked green beans with some bacon in it or whatever. And I'm going to tell you.
No, I'm not opposed to none of that stuff. I'm just saying. My thought is the meat.
Yeah. Oh, no, I have the meat. But see, because I do the smoking, so I set the meat in there. And like I think I mentioned before, I use banana leaves to wrap the meat in. Yeah. And I'm going to tell you, that banana leaves is the bomb. So I wrap them in there so it don't get overcooked. Let the smoke hit that. Throw some sides in there. And I smoke the baked beans. Throw the baked beans in there. Let that smoke get into them baked beans.
No, I'll do baked beans in there too. Like, so yes, I do make sides. I'm just saying, like,
yeah, I know that.
You want me to make some type of casserole or something like that? Nah, bro, I ain't having. I ain't making no casserole.
Nah, I won't do the casserole and stuff. Sometimes I'll smoke apples.
Really?
I've smoked apples before.
Yeah, take some apples.
Yeah, they're good.
And smoke them, especially with pecan wood. Oh man.
Pineapple too.
Yeah.
Grilled pineapple is very, very tasty.
Oh yeah, that
grilled
is true.
pineapple. Wow. So I never had that.
Yeah.
See, I love pineapples, but I never had grilled pineapples.
Yeah, try it out, man. It's good stuff.
Yeah, on the 17th, man, I'm gonna be doing it, Matthew. So swing on by.
When?
On the 17th.
Oh man, on the 7th. Nah, on the 17th.
You should be here by then.
Yo, let me ask y'all something. I don't know if this is just a Pennsylvania thing because this is the first place I ever heard about it. Y'all ever had breakfast pizza?
Nah, that don't even make sense to me.
Nah.
The hell?
Yeah, so it's pizza crust that's got eggs, bacon, cheese. I've had it with hash browns on there too.
Crazy.
Yeah, it sounds crazy. I know it's not bad. It's not
crazy.
bad at all.
Nah, that's something. Sure, I'll probably try it, but I just can't have the eggs, man. I stopped eating eggs years ago.
No, okay.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things. I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy because I grew up as far as like having eggs on a regular, and then I want to say 2017 when we decided we tried like being a vegan. I went full vegan for like 2 years. Then I stopped eating eggs, and then ever since then, till this day, even though I'm not full vegan anymore, I still can't have the eggs. I don't know why. It's like completely took it out of my system for whatever reason. I cannot like my kids now. It's like if they want eggs, yeah, so I'll make them the egg. But as far as for me to try having it, it's not happening. Like I'm not sure if it's like a psychological thing.
No
when
more
I
eggs from
try the
Mathurin.
vegan lifestyle, but I just
Well,
can't do
guys, it looks like we are winding down here. We have anything left to talk about?
It's a cold world.
I think we're good. I think
man,
we're
I'm
good.
good.
You know, Griff, you know, our condolences to you and your family.
Thank you, man.
know, I told you before, we're here for you. Anything that you need, if you just want to talk, you know, talk to somebody that's not family. That's what we're here for.
Oh yeah.
You know, and as you discover your new normal, you know, we will be anxiously awaiting to see what you do, what comes out of this. Hopefully, there's no sacrifices to YouTube or anything else like that, and we get more Griff, and you know, like we said earlier, you Virginia Beach notaries, you better get on your business because this man is coming out on fire, focused with the mobile office is being re-engaged.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because I was not
All
100%.
so,
I was not working at my full
Griff,
capacity these
we're here
last 2
for you,
years.
man. You know, I think you know that we love you, and
Yep.
our thoughts are with you and your family. So, Mathurin, you got anything else?
Appreciate it, man. Love y'all too.
Absolutely. No, I think that is it. You know, just don't forget to like and share the podcast, guys, and then we appreciate it. We just found out.
Thanks, guys.
We hit over 1,000 listener today, so great.
Also, if you
great
guys really
thing,
like
great
the show,
support.
and
We
I know that a lot of you
appreciate that.
guys do,
Just
you look
keep
for us every
liking,
Tuesday.
subscribing,
Please share the
and
show
leave
with
some,
other
leave
folks.
some comments for us as well. We really appreciate you
We're
guys
trying to
for
grow
that.
this thing. I think we've got a good message for you guys that are listening to us. You know what we're trying to do. Share the show, okay? It could help some folks out. Yeah, if you got a notary group, yeah.
Yeah,
if you got a notary group of friends,
doesn't have to be just
share
on
the show.
Instagram.
Don't,
If you have a Facebook, if you got a LinkedIn,
I think that we vetted ourselves enough.
if you still use MySpace,
enough that you should know that we're not out here. We're not scamming y'all. We're not in here for this. We're not even monetized for this podcast. All right, we do this out of the love of trying to provide something for you guys. We'd really appreciate it if you just share the show, put it out there. We put a lot of media out there. If you're on Instagram, you can follow me at the _captivated _notary. I always put out stuff to advertise for the podcast. Take it, share it, steal it. If you want to do it yourself, just send me an email, hit me up on the DMs, slide in my DMs, and I'll send you I'll send you the files and you can put them out yourself, so that way you don't have to steal them and they look clean. We appreciate you guys. We do have some folks that have been sharing stuff, and we did put out there that we're going to have a listener on soon. And I think we may have decided who that's going to be. I think it might be unanimous. We'll be announcing that soon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And if you do steal it,
I'm gonna leave that alone. We just appreciate you sharing
trash,
stuff. But
just don't deny
know
it
when I
get
put
caught.
it out, it's fine the way that it is. I'm just saying, no need to add a whole lot of other stuff in there. I promise you, I've already thought of everything that could be added in there to make it look good. It's Captivated. All right, so on that note, guys, hey, we appreciate you. We love you. Thank you for getting us to 1,000 listens.
Unsealed.
We don't know if we're the type of anything right now. All we know is that
Notaries
you're here with
Unsealed.
us and we're here for you. Love your life.
Let's go.
Love your business.
We Notaries Unsealed. Put the stamp down and stop in front of the mic. Here we go. Took the game over, we home now. We soldiers. Griff, Mathurin Q, the podcast, you can't hold us. Y'all heard the word, y'all heard the word. Griff, Mathurin Q, yeah, we on the verse. So diverse, with no rehearse. That's how we work. Authentic when we give it. If we said it, then we meant it. Not to be confused with other people's views. They get it how they get it, and we get it how we do. Look, homie, this a whole different game. We got a whole different aim. We in a whole different lane. Yeah. We Notaries Unsealed. This my everyday life. We Notaries Unsealed. Every day I hustle out here living it right. We Notaries Unsealed. Put the stamp down and step in front of the mic. Took the game over, we home now. We soldiers. Griff, Mathurin Q, the podcast, you can't hold us. We Notaries Unsealed. Every day I hustle out here living it right. We Notaries Unsealed. This my everyday life.